I got your golf bag, Barb.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here at American Dunes for our preview event. And I would just say thank you. We look at this year 2020 in all of its context, and it has been challenging for everyone at a different level. And I think it's very appropriate that we have a day like this to celebrate something that is just pure good, right? God, country, and golf with the greatest golfer in the history of the game. And I talked last night. I have admired Mr. Nicklaus since I was a little kid. I mean, he was religion in my house growing up in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and watching him play and win majors. And your hero as a child, it's a dangerous thing to meet your hero, because the way you build things up, you know, in the world that we live in through the TV, and you watch this golden bear and this, you know, amazing spirit that, you know, he and Barbara both emanate, this halo effect that follows true greatness from afar. And I think probably the most meaningful part of this journey as we sit here today looking out at American Dunes that Jack designed is being able to meet my hero and having that hero be 10 times greater than the guy I watched win majors and do all the heroic things on the golf course. And from that perspective, for me, it is just, you know, such a blessing. And I look at this place and sitting next to Mr. Nicklaus, who, by the way, is the only guy that makes me nervous I've ever met, being in his presence. But it is a sign of God's infinite grace. And he can do anything when he gets the right people on the mission. And Mr. Nicklaus said yes to this crazy idea called American Dunes on February 22nd, 2018, down at the Bears Club. And I'd be lying if I said we hadn't flown into the wind ever since. But again, through God's grace, we sit here at American Dunes to show this wonderful place that we've created, and we'll open up next May for hopefully people to make pilgrimage from all over Michigan and beyond to a golf course that represents God, country, and golf in that order, and will hopefully grow tremendous awareness for the Folds of Honor mission, the families that we support, and raise a lot of money to send these heroic families to school. So I know everybody's here to talk to the guy on my right, but I just wanted to give a little context in what American Dunes is and our unwavering mission to honor the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform by educating their legacy and forever mark the birthplace of Folds of Honor.
Thank you.
Well, you live? I think you're live.
Is that on?
Yep.
Live? Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. We think that was awfully nice, and one of these days you're going to call me Jack. I mean, you're not that young, and I hope I'm not that old.
It's reverence, just like this place. Mr. Nicklaus.
I appreciate that. And I understand that John told you to say it that way, didn't he? Your dad.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Anyway, we're here. We've spent the last little over 2 years, and you're looking at it. You're looking at what's out here. I don't know how many of you have been out on the golf course, but this right here is not representative of the golf course. This sort of is the clubhouse area, the quiet area within the trees. As you move out, it becomes more exciting as you go. And that's sort of the feeling we wanted. We didn't want to all of a sudden start with the sand dunes here. This was kind of flattish, and then start moving out into it. So we had all kinds of ideas of what to do here and what not to do. And basically, the golf course was really just covered with trees like that right there. Just big, huge, beautiful trees. And we took probably about 1,000 of them down like that. And why did we do that? Well, we had to. The name of the golf course was American Dunes. You couldn't see the dunes if you had all the trees there. All right? That's a good excuse anyway. Anyway, we took the trees down, but left the trees pretty much on the perimeter to sort of protect the perimeter and keep the golf course feeling like it was private inside the tree line. We then start playing with it and start playing with the routing, start playing with how things, the train worked, how it would flow. Some of the corridors that were there before. Some of them were not. It's but it was fun. I mean, a really fun project, and the real reason and the real fun of the project is knowing that what you're doing is going to benefit a lot of families, a lot of kids, and Barbara and I have been about kids for a long time, and when you talk about educating kids, particularly of fallen warriors, that's something that's been pretty special to all of us. I'll now open it up to you. Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Nicklaus, what made this, is that what it is that made this so special to you that you would waive your fee and come out here as often as you do? What made this?
Well, I could never charge him anything anyway, so he made a big deal out of that.
I don't have any money, so it'd be hard to charge me.
That's right. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't charge you because he didn't have any money. That's right. Good idea. Anyway, but no, I've been. I didn't get to serve in the military. I was married when I was 20 years old. We had children, and Jackie came along when we were 21, and so I didn't see that. But I love what they did. I love what they represented and what they did to protect our freedom and give us the opportunity to and just say it all over it. Freedom isn't free, and I think that's is that on this bag?
That is on the bag.
It's on the bag, and that's exactly right. So to be part of that, and when Dan came down to ask me, I knew there was no way I was going to say no, and so he started out was going to give me a big 3-hour spiel, and I said, "You don't need that." We don't need that big 3-hour spiel. We just need to know what you want to do, and we'll go do it. And I was very honored that he asked me to be part of it, and honored to do it. And when we got here, were blown away by how good a piece of property it was. And here we are.
You see the finished product. I mean, I know it's still got some growing to do, but you see it now. Does it exceed what you thought you had?
Nah, I knew what we had. Pretty much, you never know. Golf courses are never finished. Golf courses evolve, and right now you've got the first generation of American dunes, and then next year we'll have probably a tweak here. The next year we'll probably have another tweak here. Dan will come back and say, the 14th hole doesn't play exactly as we thought it was going to do. We need to do this, and I said, well, okay, we'll see what we can do. In other words, I've been to golf courses that I've been back at. Well, I just finished up at Beerfield Village. I did that golf course in 1972 through 72 and 3, opened in 74, and just redid it all. I don't think I want to do that here. I want to redo it all. We just got it started. But what I'm saying is that courses evolve, time evolves, the game changes, and you need to stay up with the game. Right now, this golf course is right up with the game, right up with what's going on in the world. It's going on. It's got it's a relatively low maintenance golf course. It's a golf course that suits the times.
Jack and Dan, congratulations on the opening of American Dunes.
Thank you.
Had a chance to play it and walk it yesterday. Very enjoyable.
Thank you.
The question I have is, Pete Dye was once asked, what's the most misunderstood aspect of his career as a designer? And he said probably was because people associated him with high-end elite championship courses, that he wasn't conscious of offering courses for the everyday golfer. And I imagine, for us here in Michigan, we know your work, Jack, Harbor Shores, and the Bear, and certainly we know you design courses all over the world. Have you had kind of a similar hurdle to say, I know how to build golf courses, playable golf courses like American Dunes, but you're associated with
No, I think
what
that
the owners want you to do.
well, when I started out, I think I did a couple golf courses with Pete. I did a couple with Desert Period, one including Muirfield Village, and the first golf course I did by myself was Glen Abbey. Why was I to do it? For the Canadian Open. Second golf course I think I did was for Shoal Creek. Shoal Creek wanted to have major events. Third golf course I think was either Castle Pines or Annandale. Annandale and Jackson, Mississippi, we had events there. Castle Pines has had events. I got known for doing golf courses for events. And, you get known for that, then all of a sudden it's tough for people to get to, which is exactly what you're talking about, to expect that. Well, I've done personally 300 and, I don't know, 20 golf courses, I suppose now, something like that. And the company's done about 450. And of those golf courses, probably 100 of them are golf courses that we've had events on. The other 250, they're golf courses that we don't have events for. We don't want to have events. They have no desire to have an event. It's a golf course for the joy of playing the game of golf. I think I would categorize this golf course as one that is for the pleasure of the people to come here to enjoy, to have fun with, to walk away feeling, I really had a great day, but I also contributed to a great cause, and that's sort of what this golf course is, and it's. I think it's going to serve its purpose.
When we talked to Jack, just a little interjection there. What was on my soul is that when people come here, they're going to play the most heroic round of golf they've ever played. And that means you're not playing for yourself, you're playing for somebody else when you come to American Dunes, but also to design a place that was fun. We want people to come here and celebrate all the things that make this country great and have an awesome golf experience, come through the Folds of Honor Memorial, understand that freedom isn't free, and have a hand-cramping cold Anheuser-Busch product in the bar. And AB's donated over $18 million to Folds of Honor, and it's just such a culmination of all the people that believe in Folds of Honor that are going to be part of an experience that has a whole lot of layers to it. One of the unique things about American Dunes, too, when we talk about the most heroic round, is reminding people why they are here. And is the only way you're going to get into the clubhouse is through the memorial, which will be here on May 1st when you're all back. But at 1,300 hours every day, that's 1 o'clock translated military time, we will play taps, and we'll have a bell that tolls 13 times. It will be heard all across the golf course. And that signifies the 13 folds that bring the flag to its triangle shape, the ultimate symbol of freedom in this country. And we will pause for 2.5 minutes every day at this golf course, American Dunes, and remember the fact that freedom isn't free. So I think there's just so many layers in the experience. And, I had the opportunity to play the golf course 2 days ago, and it's just it's wonderful. And it was the term that was used last night. That's probably my favorite term so far, was mystical. It has this mystical feel. There's a spirit that has been awoken here that I think is really going to touch people's hearts in a special way.
That's why we're here.
We talked last night. We had a scholarship recipient, Wesley Bogus. Her husband, Larry Bogus, was killed on the Afghan-Pakistani border after what appeared to be a very successful negotiation, and an Afghan security opened fire on the contingent, and her husband took the brunt, was a major, and was killed. Her 2 daughters, Ryan and Ellie, are Folds of Honor recipients. And she shared her story last night, but she had a company commander. She was also in the Army that talked about in life you have two choices, and you make it multiple times every day. You got the hard right or the easy wrong. And American Dunes is a great example of the hard right. So many people made the very challenging decision as opposed to the easy decision here, which was Grand Haven Golf Club had run its course. The highest and best use of the land was to turn it into a real estate development and walk away, like so many golf courses. I mean, it's a tough business. But what you see out here is the culmination of literally hundreds of people making the hard right decision to build a golf course that will last, I think, for generations and do a whole lot of good.
Is there a signature hole that is developing that will be most talked about by local traveling golfers?
Take that one.
Well, I like one. It's a nice hole. Two's good. I like three. Four is a beautiful little par three. Five's a nice little dog leg left. Six, a nice par five. I like all the holes. There's no such thing as a signature hole. There's 18 signature holes. This routine of guys say, well, what's the signature hole of the golf course? That's ridiculous. There's, they didn't hire me to do one golf hole. I had to do 18 golf holes. And so I call it 18 signature holes. And I think that each hole is going to be memorable to somebody. And each one, there's no two holes that are even remotely alike. When we did Muirfield Village, this is clear back and opened the golf course in 1974. After the first summer, I asked the membership, said, okay, now I want to, you all give me a thing, what is your favorite hole on the golf course? And I had 14 different answers. I thought that was pretty good. But what it meant to me that I had 4 holes to work on. So that's what I did. And so that's, I think that's a good question to ask people. What's your favorite hole? And we get done with it, and I think you're going to end up with, I think you're going to have double-digit answer on that, and then we got a couple holes just to work on.
So yeah, and it's anyway. It's called a Jack Nicklaus signature design.
Course.
Yeah.
Not coal.
Yeah. The my favorite moment on the golf course is going up over number 11. And I used this with Jack Doles yesterday. These moments, we're all in sports. We love sports, but whether you're walking up into, Wrigley Field and you're going up the stairs, and that moment where you see the friendly confines, and it's just this rush as a sports guy. When people go over the hill on number 11, as Jack, we are kind of easing them into the experience, and you go up over this blind shot on number 11. And it takes your breath away.
It's not easy there, is it?
No, but it's a spiritual, emotional moment when you look out and you can see 6 different holes from that point, all traversing through the dunes. And I think there are going to be moments out here that take your breath away. And I'm with Jack. I think the place plays with such an awesome cadence. From long to short to big greens to small greens. It's so memorable.
I think it is too. I hope so.
Jack, when you're uncovering the sand in the dunes, you keep going until there's way more sand than grass. How do you know when to stop? Is it artistic decisions or is it more technical based on how the course?
Artistic. It's just a matter of feel and eye. And, I think that many years ago, I was doing an outing, and I don't think I've told this group this before, but I was doing an outing there, and I gave a clinic before the round. And I don't know why I didn't play. I don't remember, but there were 10 golfers that came, pros that came and played the golf course. And they played the golf course, and the golf course was in immaculate condition. It was a beautiful golf course, beautiful rolling course, huge trees, beautiful lakes. The clubhouse set on top of a hill. absolutely fantastic service. They had rooms to stay in the clubhouse, which a lot of the amateurs stayed in. We got done with the round, and the amateurs walked in, and they all said, "Man, that's the best day of golf I've ever had. That's the most enjoyable thing I've ever done." And he said, "That's the best golf course I've ever seen." The pros walked in. Every single one of them said, "That may be the worst golf course I've ever seen." I said, now what in the world did that mean? Well, you start to think about it. And I think the average golfer is interested in the experience, interested in having fun with their friends, interested in walking away and having an enjoyable day. Doesn't really care what the golf is. The pros, now that's their living, that's what they do. They look at a golf course and they say, now that is a really good shot. That's an unfair shot. That's bad. That bunker just doesn't fit in there nicely, or that green's too severe. They want good golf shots. So from that day on, I just said to myself, if I could take a golf course and make it aesthetically pleasing, so people would enjoy it, and put good golf shots into that aesthetically pleasing place, I've accomplished what all golfers should like. And that's what I try to do. So on this particular property, make it aesthetically pleasing was not difficult. And there was a couple places where we had to manufacture a little for the eye, but not a lot, because the sand allowed us to do that. And you might say, you said, when do I stop? I don't know. I stop when we think it looks good. But in each individual case, I think you're going to look at this golf course and you say, how was a tee shot at 1? How was the second shot at 1? How was a tee shot at 2? How was the second shot at 2? How was a pitch shot at 2? How was a tee shot, second shot? Right through the golf course, you want to have every shot to be. And I like what I like with the golf course when I'm doing it is I like people to think also. I hate to get a golf course and I get to about the 5th hole and haven't thought about anything. I just hit the ball, and I try to think back. Well, what was number 2? What was number 3? That's not what I want to do. I want to walk on the first tee, and to me, part of the game of golf is how to figure out and how to play a golf course. That's the fun. That's the fun of it from my standpoint. Average golfer, probably not. They have a lot of, most of them, because you're being carts here, I would assume most of the time. You probably have a caddy program, will you not?
We'll have a caddy program, yeah.
And you'll have a caddy program. And so if you have a caddy program, then a lot of people want the caddy to play golf for them. All they want to do is hit the ball. And I don't enjoy that at all. I mean, I'd much rather have a young kid who knows absolutely nothing that I can teach something to and get him to like and enjoy the game of golf, rather than having somebody out there saying, oh, well, the wind's coming this way. He says 212 yards. You need to take the ball, bounce it in. I don't want that. I know how to play golf. I don't want somebody to tell me how to play golf. I just want somebody to carry the bag and enjoy the day with me. So I hope that answered your question. A little long answer, sorry.
What can you say about that humongous flag and flagpole, and just how symbolic that is for what you guys are doing here?
Pretty, isn't it? It's rather unique. I'm trying to figure out what happens if you draw it a little bit off of 9 and you end up saying, well, let's wait till the wind's up. Hit now. I don't know what we do with that. It's like having power lines going across your golf course.
It is.
Shot.
So we have a local rule that Doug Bell, our PGA professional, has put in play here. So it's a movable obstruction, unapologetic, a movable obstruction. And
What if you hit the flag?
if you hit the flag, I think you re-tee, right? You get a re-tee.
No, that's you got.
Yeah, it'd be like the
depends
power
on-
lines. You have the option.
Yeah, you have the option.
Yeah.
I did.
There was that's a good story. Go
I
ahead.
want to tell you a story. I was playing the Tournament of Champions at La Costa one year, and we got to I believe it was the 5th hole, and there was power lines that went across the fairway, and you could drive the ball too far, so I played a 3-wood off the tee, and I hit the ball off the tee, and I hit the power lines and dropped straight down. Now, I didn't move the tee. I just put the tee, put another ball down, hit another 3, hit the same power line and dropped straight down that far from the other one. That's when I could play golf.
Yeah.
So I dropped it, I hit another ball. I moved it this time so I didn't hit the power line. Moved another ball, hooked it off to the left, made double bogey. The other 2 shots were perfect. So you got to make sure you want to really hit another one if you hit the flag.
But that was a fun discussion, looking back at the flag. And I told Mr. Nicklaus, hey, I want to put an American flag out here. And he was like, oh, that's okay. And I said, no, you don't understand. He's like, I'm going to put an American flag out here.
I've been giving him a hard time all morning about when are you going to put the big flag out here? That's just that little flag.
Yeah.
He said, wait till May. That's a pretty good sized flag right there.
Yep. That
That's a
flag will
big-
only fly once, and you have to come back May 1st to see what happens to that flag.
Was more difficult, a 10-footer to win a major or getting that flag to the top of the major?
Well, it's why my wife has a problem with her left shoulder. I have a problem with my right shoulder. So we had to figure out who was going to crank and who was going to push. I want to tell you one thing. I got to work out on my left arm.
I was curious about the flag. Are you planning to raise the flag every day, lower it every day, since you're doing tabs?
That one will only fly today, and you'll have to come back on May 1st to figure out the next part of that question. But it will be lit at night as well. But this will only fly today till we're open.
Jack, I was smiling a bit last week during the Paynes Valley event as Mr. Player was issuing his rant about the removal of trees.
I know. I was sitting right beside him. I was just chuckling.
I wondered what your thoughts were knowing what had transpired here.
Well, I'm a tree hugger too. I really, when we came in here and we started not taking down all these trees, I said, really? I said, but sometimes it's necessary. When we did, probably 12, 15 years ago at Muirfield, we were really gotten very heavy with the trees. We couldn't grow grass on the greens. And Paul Latshaw became our new superintendent. First thing we did was get a company called ArborCom that comes in and gives you your sunlight. And they tell you what to do with your sunlight, what trees are bothering you, what trees aren't. And so anyway, we took down about 800 trees at Muirfield. You never knew we even took down one because we had so many trees. But trees, grass has to have sunlight, and it has to have circulation of air. So you've got to have those things. So, or otherwise, the grass isn't going to grow. I mean, those are beautiful trees. I understand, but they'll just continue to grow up over time, and pretty soon you won't really grow any grass, and that's what you're here to play on. And you're certainly, in this particular case, we had a different objective, was trying to uncover the dunes. But if this had been clay underneath, I certainly wouldn't have done that. I would have taken the number of trees that I needed to take to get sunlight, and that's what it really works.
Hey, Jack, will you talk about, I think one of the really interesting things about this site is that we grew all this on the straight sand that was here, not USGA green spec, nothing. I mean, this is on, God's
Even the
nutrients.
Even the greens.
Even the greens.
Well, I've always felt like when you've got a pure sand site, you really don't need to go to USGA. You've got drainage all the way down. You can control what you're doing. In the initial years, you're going to have to put a little bit more water on the greens to create enough thatch layer balance to slow up the percolation a little bit. And once you get that, then you can start to control your moisture levels and so forth. And that's what it's all about. And there's not a better medium to grow grass on than sand. And so it's funny. We sand cap a lot of golf courses where we get clay, we put sand over the top of it. And even in the midwestern part of Michigan or Ohio, and so Muirfield, we just redid Muirfield. We made sure we've got 4 or 5 inches of sand over every fairway, and we grow it on the sand. But here, when you're blessed with pure sand, then you go and get it growing, and then you'll have some dry spots where it percolates a little too fast. Then you'll have to continue to water and let the thatch build up, or maybe even augment the soil a little bit with something to get it so it will grow. But it's if I had my choice, every time this.
Holds of Honor is obviously about supporting families and taking care of the sacrifices they've made. Was there much discussion during the planning process to make this a family-friendly course, or was there some other aspect you wanted to go
go after?
From a playability standpoint, very friendly. But to the ethos of who we are and what we do, that's evident, right? We help families, and it's all of those traditional American values that I think we're really proud about and represent. And that's our families, our faith, our freedom, our military. And absolutely, I mean, I'm the father of 5 daughters, and we want this to be a place that is conducive for families to come and enjoy the game. So, yeah, 100%.
Dan, there was a moment that started Folds of Honor that you went through. Was there a moment that made you think we have to do something dramatic with this golf course?
Yeah, there was. I kind of talked about that. Grand Haven Golf Club had run its course, was not in a financially healthy place as a golf course. And my mom and dad were amazing, but, we'd been feeding it, and we had to make a decision on the direction to go. So I was thinking, and it's a story of my life, and I have learned this lesson. But everything kind of has to fall apart for him to rebuild it, and that can be emotionally exhausting. But it's a human story that we see written over and over all the time. It's like from the darkest of places come the brightest of lights, and there's no doubt American Dunes falls into that category. Had things not forced this moment of desperation, and I never get the courage up to call Scott Tolley and go down and have a meeting with Jack Nicklaus and say, "Hi, I need your help." And I love this analogy too. We talked a little last night. Yet we all have level 1, level 2, level 3 relationships in life. Level 1 are the normal drive-by. How are your kids? See people, wave. Level 2, a little bit deeper, but level 3 are the truly meaningful relationships when you can count on someone to help you when you're down. You just don't have many of those. And to get the blessing in our lives for Jackie and I and our family to be level 3 with Jack and Barbara and Scott Tolley in this group is, it's just been an awesome ride when your boyhood hero comes in and rides in on the white horse and says, "Hey, I got your 6. You can count on me. We're going to get through this." And there were a lot of challenging points over the last 2.5 years, flying to the wind moments, where I didn't know if I was going to make it to the next Monday. And Jack was always there with a pat on the back. And you underestimate how much people love you, Colonel Dan. We're gonna make it. But just those little pushes, and I probably haven't articulated it that well, but I don't ever want to underestimate that something this great was full of tremendous challenge to get to this point, and hard work and persistence by so many people that came in to save the day when you didn't know if the next day was going to happen. But I think those are the moments in life that make it that much more sweet when you sit out here with your hero and you look back at American Dunes and what we've been able to achieve.
Talk about your partnership with Mr. Nicklaus here. I walked in yesterday, had an opportunity to play the course, and the Golden Bear, iconic, and your flag is your logo is part of the Golden Bear, that icon. And I guess with all respect to Mr. Nicklaus, I was excited to play the course, but now I'd like to hear maybe one story or one family that you've helped that's maybe touched you, and to hear a little bit more about what this is all about, like beyond God, country, freedom. Tell us about somebody that we've helped specifically and how it's affected them or how it's affected you.
Well, I think I talked about Wesley Bogus earlier, but the layers of American Dunes, I think it's, I don't know if Doug Bell's still here, but Doug Bell, our general manager and PGA club professional that runs this property, his 2 stepchildren, Hannah and Blake Davis, their father was a Black Hawk pilot who was killed Doug meets their mom, Ann, and has raised these two children. Blake just finished the PGM program on a Folds of Honor scholarship at Ferris State and is over at Spring Lake. Hannah graduated from Michigan State and works for Southern Tide, a relationship that we were able to open up. The stories are endless. I mean, there's 28,000 recipients since Folds of Honor started. That first day out here in July of 2006, we raised $8,500, and their legacy will continue. And this place is very laser focused, much like the guy to my right here, Mr. Nicklaus. And we are intentional when we open the doors that everybody that comes through here will know a couple things. One, this is where Folds of Honor started. Two, we'll have an appreciation for freedom is not free. But the third step and the most critical step is that you're compelled to join our squadron. And there will be many touch points, from the fact that every hole is named and will honor one of Mr. Nicklaus's majors. Right next to that plaque will be a plaque honoring a soldier who has been killed in action, whose family is a Folds of Honor recipient. And we hope when you leave here, you're compelled to make a donation with your time or your talent to become a squadron member, and you take this mission forward, and that we are able to inspire and indoctrinate patriots on behalf of Folds of Honor with this facility. And there'll be a lot of people, to your point, that think they want to come play a Nicklaus signature design. Oh, this is so great. Jack's done another golf course, and they're going to have a great time here. But we have not completed our mission if they leave here and they don't know really why they came to this site and the reverence of which we've created American Dunes. And we hope we got a lot of work to do, that it will take its place as a truly unique golf experience in all of the world, where you shed a tear, you have a lot of laughs, but you understand that less than 1% of this country has the uniform on today, and if called upon, they're willing to give their lives for the freedoms that you just enjoyed out here playing a round of golf at American Dunes.
Jack, a number of us are from Grand Rapids, and we know how close you were to former President Jerry Ford. In fact, I believe you were a pallbearer at his funeral. One, I think he would say, smiling down at it, thank you for whiting these fairways out. But second of all, being a little facetious, can you share a little story about how a diehard Buckeye and a diehard Wolverine became such good friends?
Well, President Ford was. I'm trying to think how we really met. I don't remember. Maybe probably out in Vail. We both enjoyed skiing. We skied together several times. Then we got to know each other a little bit. We started playing a little bit of golf together. Then we played at the AT&T, which we must have played there a dozen times together. He was just, he just became a friend. Our family and his family became friends, and he had a couple of guys that he was sort of guys around Vail that I was friends with, and we just all had a good time. And he was, he was about a 12 or 13 handicap. He was about a 12 or 13 handicap. In other words, some people say they're 12 or 13 and they can't play 25, but he played what he did, and all the things that Bob Hope said about him, I don't remember what he said, but you had to watch out. You'd you go to a bomb shelter or something when Ford was playing, and
Military golf,
left, right, the whole bit, but Ford was he was so intense at playing golf. He loved to play golf, and it was. I remember when he stopped playing the AT&T, and they had asked me for a couple of years because it took so much time because he was so intense. They said, "Can we, Jack? How do you not get him to play anymore? How do you get him to retire?" And I said, "I'm not going to ask him to retire." I said, "That's not my position. I says, I love the man. He just absolutely is, he's just a great guy. And so, anyway, my son Jack got out of college, and he wanted to play out at Pebble Beach at AT&T. And I'm sitting there saying, I don't know. So I said, well, I said, maybe this might be a good excuse. So I talked President Ford. I said, my son Jack and I was thinking about wanting to play at the AT&T. We've been playing together for years. He said, Jack, don't even mention another word. He says, I wish I could have spent time with my kids, my boys. He said, I'm going to step aside and let you play with your son. I mean, I didn't hardly even mention it. And he came right back with it. He said, I don't want to disappoint you by not playing. And he did disappoint me in some ways because I really enjoyed playing with him. But still, he knew that was the right thing, and it was his time to do it. And he used my conversation with him as his excuse to retire. But he was just, he was wonderful. And then I remember when he called me and he said, Jack, he said, I said, I'm planning my funeral, and I'd like to ask you to be a pallbearer. And I said, Mr. President, I said, I hope that's not going to be soon. And he says, I hope not either. He said, but I'd love to have you do that. He says, when we do this, we've got to be prepared, and we've got to organize what's going to go on. So he did. And it was a very, very nice honor for him to include me in that. So I came to Grand Rapids, obviously, when he passed. But he was probably the best athlete that's probably ever been in the White House. I mean, he took abuse, as I said, from Hope, but as far as an athlete, I mean, played football at Michigan, and he was a golfer. He was a skier. I know he played tennis. I know he did all kinds of things that he was really good at. Nice man, really nice man, in spite of being from Michigan.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do today when I came here. I didn't know whether to wear my mask or to wear my other one. So I had one, not sure which one to wear. Got a
Jack.
50 to 100 years from now, do you want your legacy to be as much about the golf courses you've built as the incredible career you've had as a player?
Well, I don't know about the golf courses. I sort of think for the reason the golf courses are built. Most of the golf courses you build are just a golf course for a commercial reason. But when you get the opportunity to do something that's not a commercial reason, something that's special, this will always be one very special to me in my heart, just for the simple reason of Dan Rooney and from the Folds of Honor and what it really believes and means, and it's just a contribution to be part of it. It's I wouldn't care if this was an old dump. It didn't make any difference to me. It was being able to do what we're trying to do, and so obviously it's not an old dump. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of property, but it's special. Those are the special ones.
We're good, GG?
I was just going to ask, are you still involved in the project out at American Lake in Washington, the Veterans Facility there?
Well, we did the golf course. We're done with the project. They had 9 holes out there, which was okay, very pretty, but just okay as far as golf goes. Then we built another 9 holes, which we had to make wheelchair access or solo riders, I guess is what they use. And so we did that, and that's a really nice 9 holes of golf. And they were going to come back and do the other. I don't think they really wanted to spend the money to do that. They were getting what they needed to get out of that. That was another one of those special projects. And Kenny Steele called me. He was a PGA pro and played on the Ryder Cup with Kenny in '69. And he called me. He said, Jack, he said, we want to do a golf course out here at the VA, at the hospital for the veterans. And he says, will you? Yes. Never even got out what he was asking. Obviously I wanted to be involved. And I mean, I met so many. I bet you probably have met Leroy Petrie. Remember him?
No, Leroy. Well, his kids are Folds of Honor recipients.
Was that
Medal
right?
of Honor winner. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Well, yeah, Leroy, and then I remember one of the first guys I met was William John Martin, Jim Martinson, and Jim had lost both of his legs in Vietnam, and he had remained an athlete and been a marathon, I don't know, wheelchair runner, I suppose what you'd say, and at the Special Olympics, and you know, this guy, he was so nuts about golf, it was unbelievable, and you get, I mean, one right from the other. And I remember one boy was suffering. What do you
Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
post-traumatic stress, and his I remember him. He had lost his legs, and we were the night before we were doing an outing, and I said to him, I says, out of curiosity, and I met his wife, and she was tall. I says, out of curiosity, how tall were you? He says, I was 5'10". I said, what are you now? He said, I'm now 6'1". He says, my wife, he says, I'm taller than my wife. So I mean, he was, and the next day he suffered from going out there and trying to perform and be part of it. And once we got loosened up and so forth, and once he got the hang that it wasn't a threat to him, or, you know, he moved on. And I'm trying to remember what his name was. Hispanic. And anyway, he came out and we got to the first tee, and they wanted the two of us to hit an opening tee shot. He knocked it 40 yards by me. And it was, you know, but you know, I love being part of those things. That was for Warriors in Quiet Waters. That was in Montana. And so, you know, but anyway, I've been blessed to be asked to be part of some of this stuff. And Dan, blessed to be asked to be here, to be part of this. So it's been fun.
Last question, and then we're going to hit a T-ball. We didn't totally answer yours. Talk to me about the Patriot Bear and what that means to you and
here?
Barbara.
Well, you came up with this. You came up with this at our company, who I really want to yell at because they want their bear used, and I'd sit there and I said, you guys, ridiculous. Anyway, this bear was come up by Dan. He came up with the idea of it, and I think it's fabulous. And you know, people are stealing it all over the country. We sold hats at Muirfield with it on. Castle Pines are selling it with it on. I know several other places. I don't even know where they're. I've seen a couple other places. This bear has become iconic.
When you said the quote that will hang as you enter the club when we're here on May 1st, I love the game of golf, but I love my country more. That's what inspired the bear. We could bring your legacy together with the service that you and Barbara have provided the U.S. military.
That's why you see me wear it all the time. Oh. Anyway, it's been a great privilege to be here, be part of Folds of Honor and American Dunes, and honor to be involved with Lieutenant Colonel Dan here, and you know, all the things that he has done and means to the country, and with the service he's given to it, and I don't know how Jackie puts up with him. I tell you, 5 kids or 5 girls, and she still puts up with you, doesn't she?
Yep, we both have winners in that department, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Sitting next to each other right over there. What do you want to? So for the first shot, and I don't know if you've ever done this, to hit it in formation. Would you be up for that? To hit a?
However you.
Unless we do it in the fighter pilot world.
Will I be the wingman? Is that what it is?
No, you are the flight lead of everything. I would be honored to be your wingman, but we could hit a first shot in formation. Okay. I think Ian has a couple drivers and a couple golf balls, and we just again thank you everybody for coming out and using your lens and your pens and your keyboards to tell what I think will be a truly heroic story in the game of golf around my boyhood hero and so many people's hero, but most importantly, the families that we're going to be able to support when we open this thing up in 2021. So thanks for giving us the gift of your time and spreading the good message of American Dunes.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. I will hit it exactly.